appear and Haran disappears. We are not the same person, I promise. All right. In my Matthew McConaughey voice. All right.
All right.
Who is that drummer, Haran?
I forgot his name, but I actually want to hit him up and actually see if we could do some more work with the next project. I got his name though.
Hit him up. What's up? Hola, mi gente. I've been gone for a couple days. Okay, mama been taking care of some business. My lesson for the past few days is do not let anybody pull you into their misery. Okay, do not do that. Ever, okay? Not worth it. So with that said, welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm YouTube and your favorite devil's advocate and bad girl, Jen. You can reach me on all social media platforms, On the Block with Jen, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, On the Block with Jen at Gmail. I'd rather you hit me there for business and not my DMs, por Dios. On the Block with Jen at Gmail for business. If you want to support the show and help mama keep the church lights on, hit me. Buy me a smoothie over at Cash App, also On the Block with Jen. I'm very easy to find, okay? That's if you want to be discreet. Sometimes you like sending me some chips and you don't like other people in your business. That's what Cash App is for. Unless you want people to know that you're sponsoring the show, by all means, leave me a note. And I will let the world know, okay, that you're saying it with your chest. If not, super chat me by all means, and we'll throw your comment up. Tonight's going to be interesting. What's up, Afi? I see you, brother. What's up, Jupiter's Gone Wild? Jupiter is already commenting on tonight's topic. I got pushback for you, Jupiter. With that said, welcome my panel. Lily is traveling, okay, for business. She will be back next week, but we're going to hold it down for her. And I'll try to give you a couple of Lily stank faces, okay, while she's not here. I'll do my best, all right? Haran DeMarco, how are you, darling?
How's everybody feeling? First of all,
good.
Music producer, Haran DeMarco. That's you. And you can catch me here as Haran.DeMarco on YouTube. And you can also catch me as Haran DeMarco under Apple Music and Spotify.
And that was your music that was playing in the intro, yes?
Yes, it was.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Are you muted? What's going on over there?
Yes. Yeah, hey, how you doing? Listen, I got internet issues, so when you see me freeze up, I'll be back. And I don't know what's going on with my internet, but you can catch me on YouTube at I'm No Saint. I'm Saint. I'm No Saint. I'm Saint No Saint on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Threads. Please follow and subscribe, and catch me right here on the Block with Jen.
Okay, Jen, before you go any further, you jump into the show, I would like to say a few things.
Uh-oh.
All right.
But okay, I'm listening, all ears.
So it's come to my attention, and, look, bottom line, I'm not going to get too performative here and all that other bullshit. Look, all this stuff was a great experiment, letting you guys come up here and, speak your piece, and you let it out, in the chat, and so on and so forth. Here's the thing. A number of you have gotten way too comfortable with how far you're taking it. Way too fucking comfortable. And I'm here to tell you right now, two things are going to happen. You start talking that crazy shit in the chat, wild crazy shit in the chat, you're out of here. I'm getting you out of here. Period. There's no warnings. There's no nothing. You're going to be in the middle of typing, and the next thing you know, you find out you're not in the goddamn show anymore. Number two, you come up here, and you cause a problem, you cause an issue. You're getting the fuck up out of here. No one's going back and forth with you. We're not doing that. Behave yourself. Behave like a fucking human being. There's no problem. There's no problem with you actually having a difference of opinion, but you should be able to have calm, and there's nothing wrong with a passionate debate. But we know what the difference is. I say all this to say this: you're not you morons running around here. You look for spaces where you can spew your trauma, your hurt, whatever. Take that shit to your therapist, your baby mama's doorstep. Other YouTube channels, I really don't give a fuck. You're not coming up over here causing issues. You're not causing stress. You're not causing problems. You're not intimidating anybody over here. All right, you're not causing any of that nonsense. And instead of attacking her and attacking Jen and so on and so forth, feel free to attack me. All right, climb up in my DMs with your hateful, nature and so on and so forth, or whatever what it is with your threats. But know one thing. She can call up the FBI and she can do all these things to you. I'm the guy with 20 years of fucking computer experience. I can find you. Okay? I can find out how you feed your families. I can make your life really uncomfortable. So we're just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to take up too much time of it. At the end of it, leave my fucking family alone, man. Behave yourself. Act like a fucking human being. Or don't and leave. Period. All right, Jen, go ahead.
Well, thank you for that, Haran. I guess the key words here are get the fuck up out of here. We're going to get you the fuck up out of here. All right. So with that said, I salute you, brother, and thank you for saying that. No Saint, anything before we jump in? There's a delay. I can hear the delay.
Well, yeah. Am I delayed right now? Delayed?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I read something I thought, and I kind of, when I was thinking about that whole Titan, remember the Titan went down and imploded, right? With the so I was, in my own mind, I was thinking they had to know, like they had to hear cracks, they had to hear something, it didn't just implode, right? I was thinking to myself, and I didn't want to think that they knew. I wanted to think it was instant. Well, evidently the motor went out and they dove about, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 meters before it imploded. And they said that it was nothing to control it. So everybody was on top of everybody basically as it flew down. Pretty scary stuff. But I was just, I read that the other day and I was like, oh man, I figured that though. I figured it wasn't something that could just be instant, it was a horror show. So just thought I'd throw that out there, and a nice little warm, heartwarming story.
So I mean, but going, like, how much that thing weigh? Did it fly down? I would think it would float down. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I mean, how fast would it sink? Can't hear you, Haran.
It would depend on a number of things.
Go ahead.
A number of things that's happening in the moment. I don't really know how heavy it was. It looked pretty heavy, but it depends on a number of things. But pretty fast. We could just say, it's metal. After a while, it would have went down pretty fucking quick.
So you think it went down with enough force, kind of like an elevator? You know what I mean? When an elevator is going down at a rapid pace, everything flies up. You think that it was in the water going down really fast and everybody just flew up?
That's
holy crap.
That's what they're saying. They're saying it threw everybody on top of it. Basically, it threw everybody, I guess, to whatever end that it was the opposite.
Yeah, because it was tiny. I mean, it was tiny. You couldn't even stand up in it. So,
and whatever motor propulsion that was going, if it just shot it down, even further, I would assume that would add to the acceleration. So that shit was a nightmare. I'm sure that shit was a nightmare, man.
Well, I mean, an implosion is fast, but the sinking probably wasn't fast. Like they were probably like, "Oh shit!" Like we're going. It's kind of like an airplane. Like you're going down until impact.
Yes.
So I think with them, they were going down until implosion. So you get to say to please gods and all that if you're religious, right? You little Allah Akbars and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, terrible.
Right,
terrible
and that's my whole thing. Was I was like, "There's no way they didn't." Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's get into the topic.
Let's get it. No, I have some fluff first.
All right.
Okay, let's fluff.
Yeah, no, say your delay is concerning me.
All right, let me get out and try to do something real quick, and I'll get back on.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody's internet service is crazy right now.
Yo, I don't know if it's the heat or what.
Right.
Like it's terrible. It's terrible. We had we went up to I think 105 over here. Yeah, 105.
My lights went out again the other day. Came back on, but it was hot as hell that day though. It was hot as hell.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 107 out here, not 105. 107. All right, devil. Give it to me. Give it to me. I wanted to talk about this story. You know what? This has been going on for a couple weeks. I didn't want to touch it because I thought it was your regular old quote unquote porn star or 304 hoe, whatever you want to call her, messing with an athlete. These stories happen literally every month. Like these athletes do not learn. And that's why I say, you know, men talk very, very badly about the quote unquote hoe, porn stars or whatever. But I think that they are equally yoked with the majority of men mindset, right? Now, a bunch of men probably, you know what I mean? It's like, who thinks like that? Well, the majority of you do. That's why porn is $1 billion industry, right? Speaking of, that's actually what I said over on Access Vegas. I was over there. Thank you. Did I rep the block okay? Did I rep the block?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, I was on Access Vegas with Rollo Tomasi and Michael Sartain. Very welcoming, very, very great conversation. Not what you would think of the red pill. You know, and someone in my comments was like, "Oh, you kept your cool over there." I was like, because they were cool.
Exactly.
Like, cool, right? So it's like I, you know what I mean? I reciprocate energy. And I know some people are like, oh, I'm above that and I don't reciprocate energy. I reciprocate energy. I reciprocate a vibe. And they were just cool. Like they didn't come at me any kind of way. So why would I go at them any kind of way? And I keep telling people that when you see me going at somebody a certain kind of way, it's because they initiated. I'm usually quite cool, right? I talk passionately, but I'm cool. But it was a fun experience. You know, the girls were there, the hotties were over there, and we spoke about a couple different things. So, you know, cool guys, it was cool. But anyway, going back to my point, what I said over there is the same thing I'm saying here, that a lot of men, right, they are obsessed with hoism, with the 304, the hoe. They sing about them, they rap about them, they use them in their music videos. And I'm using the word hoe loosely because men think anything in a bikini or with a fat ass or tits is a hoe, fine, well and good. I'm talking about from them to Motley Crue girls. There you go. Motley Crue girls to freaking, you know what I mean, MTV girls, to video vixens, right? You know, men usually, and anything that's attractive usually goes under the whole thing unless she has a turtleneck up to here, right? Great. So, you know, with this Mariah Mills, I believe is the name, and Zion Williams, the athlete, the basketball player, I was like, okay, this is the average whole athlete gets together, whole acts up, and then the athlete gets disgruntled and doesn't want to deal with her anymore, and the whole uses it as a come up or some clout or some press. We hear this story over and over and over and over and over again, and we're going to hear it over again after Zion Williams. But this has grown some legs. I didn't want to touch it because I'm like, these stories bore me. But today she's upping the ante and saying and accusing him of domestic violence. And I have the clip here, and I'm going to play it from Lovely T's Instagram channel. I got it from her page, and I'm going to play it. And if you notice in her wording, I mean, she's obviously bullshitting. You could quote me on that. But believe everyone. No, you can't believe everyone. These bitches lie. Bitches lie. Okay.
She's not an ass off in there, but
right. And she now she's upping the ante. I guess she really wants to stick it to this kid. And then we'll discuss, like, you know, whose fault is it? I mean, he wanted her, he got her, right? He had, I'm sure he's in a nice tax bracket, and he has access to all kinds of women. You know, those good girls y'all keep talking about that you like and you want. He actually had the means to get 10 good girls. He wanted the porn star. And so now here we are. So I'm going to play the clip. I don't know where No Saint is. He's probably standing on the roof right now. Trying to get some Wi-Fi.
With a metal fork or some shit.
Right.
I will say this, though. A lot of brothers think that they know what a hoe is, but they don't. They just call damn any woman nowadays a hoe. Any woman, excuse me, they call any woman that they can't get a hoe. You know what I mean? And no, it's not necessarily she's a hoe. She just doesn't want you. Just because she wants the other guy doesn't make her a hoe.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that you just didn't qualify. That's another thing too. Like I always say, it's the illusion of access. You know, on the internet, everyone, men and women I see do this shit. Everyone is convinced that they have access or should have a shot at everyone. No, that's not how it works. That's not how real life works. You know what I mean? You must be this tall to ride certain rides. Man.
True.
That's just what it is. You know what I mean? You got to pay to play.
And that's a simple way to put it, but that is life. With the explosion of social media, it did give people the illusion of access. And we spoke about that before. A lot of these people that come up here and act the monkey ass fool wouldn't even be in our circle, right? And
Absolutely.
It's not a thing where it's like, it's not a thing where it's like, oh, you know, we're better than whatever. It's just we would not fuck with you in real life. That is why you congregate on certain channels, because we wouldn't fuck with you. But with the miracle, with the miracle of social media, all you got to do is click and get on a panel these days, right?
And you assume that, this is your circle. Like, no, it's not. Anyway,
and you learn quickly it's not your circle, right? Especially on the block. Okay, so No Saint, did you hear what I was saying about Mariah Mills and Zion Williams at all?
I didn't hear. I'm up to speed on what's going on. You know, Zion Williams plays down here on the Pelicans team. So when he's healthy, which in 3 seasons has been maybe 75 games. So he hasn't. He's one of those. He's one of those phenoms but he's so big and so good and so fast. But he's so big, so his muscles. I mean, it's a lot of. So he's constantly having issues with hamstrings. Yeah, but he's really. I mean, if he stays healthy, he'd be phenomenal. Also, he's got the reputation here to where, you know, I saw the porn stars video, and I had to give it a little side eye because that doesn't sound like him. Now, do I know him personally? No, but I'm just saying the type of character he has, it doesn't sound like him. And she really, I was reading some of the tweets by Shannon Sharp, and it was pretty funny. Like, you know, basically commenting on her acting in porn is much better, you know?
Oh my God, I keep hearing that.
Yeah,
I keep hearing that. So I have because I have the clip. I'm going to play the clip. Okay, and I was like, oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Shit. Man, where are you, lady? Yeah, total weirdo. But you know, he would not. This reminds me of Woody Woodpecker, and that's above age bracket. A lot of the people that are watching, but this reminds me of Woody Woodpecker when. Yes, when he said if Woody would have gone straight to the police, this would have never happened, right? And had he just left this woman alone, again, these men have access. You know, their pick of the litter. Really, he could have got himself a nice little church girl, a little submissive girl. You know, the women that men claim they like, and yet men are always in this situation. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man, because there's an abundance of church girls and submissive girls. There's so many of them. I don't understand why you always end up in bed with a porn star or a hoe, right? So here's the video.
You guys, I literally did not want to come to the internet, and I'm just tired of saving face for this man that's completely disrespecting me to the world, and I literally have to take this. Every time I come on the internet, people are bashing me because of this man, literally, and I'm tired of it. He knows, he said he's going to send me $62,000. I have yet to receive that since June. I'm literally here, like, he's literally a liar. You guys, everything he says, he's a liar. He's not who he says he is. I literally been saving face. I did not want to come to the world and let you guys know what he has been doing to me my entire relationship with him. He is a woman beater, and the NBA needs to know this. I literally did not want to come to this because I know he has so many endorsements. But Zion Williamson is a woman beater. And the reason he was paying me off is so I won't come to the world and tell everybody.
So how drunk do you think we would be if we took a shot every time? She said, literally. That was a lot of literallys. Okay. Haran, what say you?
A lot of people don't take certain things into consideration. A lot of athletes aren't really that different from most incels. They don't have that much. No, they don't really have that much experience with women on a real world level. They just can, do a particular thing real well. So of course they're gonna, get in the mass of women, because if they really knew the game like that, they wouldn't get caught up like this every fucking 5 minutes, man. Like, this is just regular trick shit. He's getting what he deserves. He didn't have to. And then after that, you go get a stripper pregnant. Like, what are you doing? Like, shout out to LeBron James.
He did. Zion did. He got a stripper pregnant. Okay, all right. He's
not pregnant. He married one or whatever. He's in a situation with a particular stripper right now. You know what I mean? Okay. But the point of the matter is that shout out to LeBron James. He got him the kind of women that a lot of these brothers claim that they want. But I'm pretty sure they overlook most of the time. And Beans Pod Mob Boss, is Heron here to fluff, or does he have his own perspective? Oh, I have my own perspective all the time, brother. It's just not your perspective. So that's what you really want me to do. You want me to agree with you. And 9 times out of 10, we disagree. See, that's the problem with people on these spaces. You see, they think that you don't have your own perspective if you don't agree with them.
See, they always claim echo chambers, but they just want you in their echo chamber.
Exactly. That's all it is, man.
They don't want you in another echo chamber. They want you in their echo chamber.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not going to be in your shit, because you so many of you are fucking losers, man. You spend hours on you spend like 5 or 6 hours on streams with fat men who present like masculine, masked lesbians, crying about, can't get no pussy. It's just disgusting. And it's disgusting. You do it with such pride and wherewithal. It's just disgusting. So again, yes, I have my own perspective. It's just probably not yours, and that's okay.
It's just funny because it's like, if you agreed with them, then you would be in their echo chamber. So it's really funny. They just want you in their echo chamber. They're very possessive and selective about echo chambers. So what you said, Haran, Tristan.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get this dude for $60,000, man. Like, wow, really?
So look, wait. I just wanted to, before I forget, I wanted to address what Haran said, because it's very, very interesting. He said most of these athletes have incel vibes, and it makes sense because from a very young age, they are, reared and shaped and protected to be athletes, right? So they don't have a lot of worldly experience, and then their experience unfortunately for them, comes with millions of dollars simultaneously at the same time. So now you're throwing these kids out there all over the United States, and then you're throwing millions of dollars in their pockets, and the women know. I watched a program one time where these groupies travel. They know where these guys hang out. They know what lobbies they hang out in hotels. They know what clubs they go to. They know the barbershops, the bars. So it's like these women are out there, and these guys are just dumb. And that's why I don't feel sorry for him. They should have, train them better. As you're training them to be athletes and phenoms, you have to train them. This is what's out there. This was going to happen. I'm looking at that Mariah Mills. She looks, to me, just a pretty nasty woman. You know what I mean? I don't even see the appeal, but unfortunately, black men, long as it has a big ass and big tits, they all in. So there you go. Good luck to him. She's now trying to target his endorsements, as you heard her say, out of her own mouth. So she's kind of, you let her talk long enough, you know what I mean? She'll let you know what she's trying to do. And she's trying to ruin this kid. So,
Well, this is the thing. The reason, first of all, $62,000 for hush money sounds really cheap.
Just a heads up. Some dude just got bounced out of here. I'm not playing with you niggas tonight, man.
Oh.
I'm not playing with you.
Oh.
I'm not. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna really bring out another fucking side of me, man. I try to be cool most of the time on this fucking channel and let Jenny do what she do and so on and so forth. I don't give a fuck about none of you niggas, man.
Okay.
Fuck you, your families, whatever it is.
Your dog, your cat,
Your cat,
the rat, your cat ate.
If we got to start all over again with a new chat, I really don't give a fuck. I'll get you all up out of here tonight. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry for being.
No, all I was saying, the $62,000, the $62,000 sounds really cheap for hush money. That is one crack in the story. As much money as Zion has in endorsements, she could have gone for. So I'm not sure if that's realistic. Secondly, we should know in today's age that hush money doesn't mean anything. It just means the delay in the story coming out.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to come out later on. So I don't blame him if he didn't pay her. I don't care. Again, I don't care that he doesn't have the world or the experience, and he chooses to, and maybe he's an incel. I don't really care that he's with a porn star, just like I don't care if he's with a stripper. And that really makes no difference. What I would care about is if he actually was physical and he did have DV going against him, right? That's more important to me. Everything else, listen, we're way too much in people's lives that we shouldn't be. We're way too much in people's business. That's his business. If he wants to, if that's all he can get as a stripper, that's all he can get as a stripper. But that's his business.
I mean,
let me push back a little bit. Let me push back just a little bit. Thank you, Adam Hearn, for this super chat. Adam Hearn says Zion should have stayed in his lane like most black men who are Duke alumni and got him a plain Jane Becky. He would have been he would have been better off. Like, okay, first things first, we got to be in their business. We're we're literally a podcast channel, so we have to be in their business. But outside of that, he's a public figure. So is this porn star. She's well known. And you have to be, crazy if you think that this athlete is going to get with a well-known porn star and no one's going to talk about it when she's constantly putting his business out on the street. If he didn't want his business out on the street, he could have got him a plain Jane Becky, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Adam Hearn said, and nobody would know about this kid. But
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, when I say business, I'm not judging him on what he's doing. I'm not looking down at him and saying, "Oh, he's a horrible person because he was with a porn star." That's all I'm saying. Yeah, of course, you're gonna know about it. That's understood. And in today's world, it's a lot worse than it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
But no, I know what you mean. Of course, we're going to talk about it.
Right.
But no, I just don't think it's right that people judge him, I guess would be a better way of putting it. Off of that, because that's what I'm saying. When it's not about, if he wants to marry that porn star, that's not my business. That's what I'm saying.
Right. To the guy that said big speaker, he says shout out to Team Fatty. Thank you for reminding me. I gave him 2 copyright strikes. So if you have beef with Team Fatty and he's used any of your content at all, because he likes to react to content, but he's too stupid not to use the actual content, right? Because on YouTube we could talk about anybody. We could talk about anybody till we blue in the face. He could give me 5-6 hours of his life. That's fine. But you cannot use content. So being that he's that stupid enough to talk about people and use their content, if you had beef with Fatty or somebody who has beef with Fatty and he has their content or your content up on his channel, send him that copyright strike so we can obliterate his channel. I already sent him 2 copyright strikes. If he gets a 3rd, he's done. No, it's not fair use. It's not fair use, honey. Okay. But he'll soon learn that. Anyway. No, it's not fair. That's the excuse that they use. It's fair use. It's not fair use. He used my entire stream. It is not fair use. But he'll see in the counter I'm going to do. But so anyway, I know you guys are here, you're nosy or whatever. So I know you know someone who's had beef with him, or maybe it's you who's had beef with him. If he's used your content, you can get his channel taken down. He has 2 copyright strikes from me already. All he needs is a 3rd, and then he's the fuck out of here, like Haran said. As you know, he runs a very, very beef driven drama channel. He uses other content creators to get spins and money. He came here and said he made $300 off of my content. So this is how this man is making money, by stealing content. Okay, he stole the content and he's using the content. So if you or someone you know has beef with him and he's used your content, send him that copyright strike so we could get him the fuck up out of here. And he said himself, he doesn't care if his channel vanishes, because, you know, he'll go back to watching anime and beating off to, I guess, you know, Grand Theft Auto hookers. I don't know what he's going to do when he's gone, but he said that he doesn't care if his channel is taken down. So since he don't care, I think we should, you know, find out if he really doesn't care. Again, Team Fatty has 2 copyright strikes. He needs a 3rd. So if he's used your content or anything, or you know somebody, this is the time to do it. Let's get rid of that fool, okay? Because that type of shit should not be on YouTube. Another thing is, I was told through the grapevine that there's a code amongst these YouTubers when they beef back and forth that they're not supposed to strike each other. I don't beef. I stay here. I mind my business. Okay, people come to me. I don't go to anybody else's channel unless I'm invited and I know that they're decent enough to have a decent conversation. I don't go anywhere. So all the crabs that think they're going to come up to my channel, start beef, and then use the content, I will copyright strike you, and I will do it over and over again. I have no code with you. I don't know you people. You don't know me. It's like I told the Team Fatty, that fat fuck, I don't know him. Okay. He tried to make it look like we had a rapport. I don't know him. I don't play with these kids. Okay. The dude is pushing 40 and he's still acting like a complete buffoon, which is fine, but don't play with me. Okay. You guys got plenty of other podcasters to beef with. All right. Don't pull me into that, because I'm going to treat you like the stranger that you are. So again, he has 2 copyright strikes. He needs a 3rd, and his channel will be taken down. So let me know. And also you could contact me for information on the Block with Jen at Gmail, and we can collab on it. All right. Real talk. So back to Zion. Tristan, you put my boyfriend up.
Adam say her real star acting.
That's my boyfriend. What did Adam say? Oh yeah.
He heard me start acting uppity, and I'm like, yeah, it happens. It happens.
We bougetto, Adam. We bougetto, okay? Bougie and ghetto. Every now and we fancy. Every now and then we get fancy.
We know how to act in certain places, okay, Adam?
Right? That's all it is. That's all it is. So hopefully that message gets out there, because that motherfucker, he definitely has to go. He's a virus to YouTube. He's still doing that, you know. And he threatened me too, which is great. Okay. So I'll just leave it at that. So we talked about the Zion Williams. And there was something else I wanted to address. I'm not sure. And let me remind you guys, you know, no love lost or found. If you don't like my channel, just find another one. There are 50 million YouTube channels right now and growing. 50 million is a lot of places where y'all could be. Think about that. Can you even fathom? There are 50 other million places you could be outside of my channel. So if you don't like my channel and you don't like my content, just get gone. Like go find, there are 50 million YouTube channels. Go somewhere else. It is okay. All right. I hope it's okay for you as it is okay for me that you not be here. It's really not that hard. Like, I don't watch people that I don't like. And shout out to the people that lurk and don't jump in the chat to cry about it. Like, just lurk. Like, join the lurkers and just lurk. Because there's a lot of people lurking right now who claim that, 50 million. There's a lot of, lurkers right now who claim they don't like me and are watching me right now. Just play your position and keep your trap shut. You know what I mean? The lurkers know how to watch now. They already know. Well, a lot of them are blocked, but they know how to watch now. They're like, let me just watch and not go in the chat because she's going to block me. That's how you watch. And if it's paining you, there are 50 million YouTube channels in existence. Go find you one that you like. Okay.
I just want to put out there also, a man who goes to a woman's house or a woman's space to get abused repeatedly, and she speaks on a particular manner, that's usually in the world of BDSM. That's usually, the woman's usually a dominatrix and the guy is usually a sub. So I see a lot of you guys love coming over here to get berated and beat down by her and, You just love it for some strange fucking reason. Because we see the numbers, we see the analytics. You know what I mean? For a bunch of motherfuckers who really hate it, a lot of you really do show up. So you like some of this shit. You like being berated. You might like your girl. You might like your girl to do certain things to you. That's really none of our business. We're not king shaming. But anyway, I'm basically saying the energy that you're giving off when you're in here and you're getting abused and you keep coming back. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I was wrong. It says there are over 51 million YouTube channels. So think about that. Next time you come over here crying about something I said, just remember that there are over 51 million YouTube channels. You could Google it yourself. So next time you come over here crying, just think about that. Think about, am I a dick because I'm over here complaining when I could be watching 50 other million YouTube channels? Think about that. Think about it. Okay. All right, so moving on. Shit, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Where is it? Wait a minute. If not, then we just gonna jump right in. Jump right in.
A lot of cats want to
You want to jump? Okay. Oh, so everything I said tonight, run tell that. Okay, run tell that. Run. Okay, so let's get into the topic. The topic tonight is something I found quite interesting. First of all, I am a fan. Tristan, you're such an ass.
This is the most accurate thing of all time.
Oh my God, I cannot with you. I'm done. I am done.
That was a certain individual who was here a couple of months ago. That was who he was.
Oh my God. They get so attached to me. I'm telling you, I should have been a dominatrix. They get so attached. Okay, guys.
I'll be your manager. Anyway, go ahead.
For real. So this story is interesting to me. Watch the doggies in the back. So this story is interesting to me because, first of all, let me start by saying I am a fan of Ice Cube. I am. Okay, I like me some Ice Cube. How in ever? I'm starting to think that the rapper midlife crisis is not Corvettes. It's not Lamborghinis. It is whistleblowing, outing the gatekeepers. I think that's the rapper midlife crisis. I mean, like most guys just go get a Lambo, right? No, we have to go on a podcast tour to out the powers that be. The man behind the curtains with the puppet strings, right? Those people in charge, the gatekeepers. So for the past couple weeks, our dearest Ice Cube has gone on a podcast tour. He's talked to Bill Maher and other people, and he's basically talking about you know, the people in charge. I ain't got to say no names. He's playing that game, right? And my thing is, since I was a youngin', and people came to me with stories, who said it? Who said it? If you're not going to tell me who said it, then it wasn't said, and go find beef or gossip somewhere else. Who said it? So I think it's a little silly, fan as I am of Ice Cube, if you're going to blow the whistle and talk about these gatekeepers, these quote unquote gatekeepers, name names or leave it alone. Because if you don't name names, then you're doing a Kanye and you're scared, right? You know, them guys, after a while, Kanye was pushed to name names and you saw what happened to him, right? So I just don't get, and then I'll pass the mic because I got some other things to say, but I don't get why, right? He's being hypocritical, in my opinion. You made a lot of money with those quote unquote gatekeepers, but now you're older. The light bulb went over in your head. And literally, he's claiming now that record labels encourage criminal activity. This is the man that used to be part of the group NWA, is now today saying that record labels encourage criminal activity. Now pass the mic on that.
He started it. What do you mean? NWA was the main reason why it springboarded to where we're at now. What if he started it?
Yeah. I mean, look, listen. I wouldn't say he started it per se. However, yes, he is a part of the group that made it go mainstream. You know what I mean? That made it explode. Now, look, man, when I was younger, look, ladies and gentlemen, before, some of you might be too young for this, but before, Ice Cube started doing kiddie movies and barbershop shit and complaining and all this other shit and making whack music, Stu was bad. Stu was he used to drop classic albums. I mean, Ice Cube at one point in time, he was dangerous. Like, you really thought he was the shits. Not saying he pussy or anything like that, but I'm just saying the perception of him was like, Cube is that dude. Now, when you get older, and especially when you realize you see past the veil and you hear about things and so on, you see people for what they are. Now, for what he is right now, twofold. Yes, you are telling the truth, but you're only telling half of the story. Because yes, record labels do that. They did it to me. They wanted the deal that I had that was on the table was, we like what you're doing, but you have to go down this particular road. I said no. Deal gets pulled. I said no. Now, you can say no. None of these guys are under duress. None of these guys have guns pointed to their head. You can say no. Now, yes, the labels, many of these labels, Jewish-owned labels, yes, they have stocks in private prisons. I know this. I did the research. Yes, a number of them do, push for violent content in the music for a number of reasons. Number one, it makes a ton of money, especially back then in the golden age of the 90s and 80s. People were literally printing money back then. And number two, yes, by glamorizing criminality, it does lend to the prison population. We understand that, but there's a component in here, Ice Cube, that you're not talking about. You're going full steam ahead with this, with this information after you done made your 20, 40, or $50 million. It's like the guys who after you done, there's guys in the weightlifting world, from the bodybuilding world, who rally against steroid use and blah blah blah, and talk about the industry after they won like a shitload of fucking trophies, after they fucked their bodies up, after no one gives a shit about them. Then they're rallying against the industry in order to appear relevant. So a lot of the times that I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing it with Cube. He's snitching and doing whatever to stay relevant. Fucking Yayo is on every goddamn fucking podcast telling, war stories to appear relevant. Keith Murray snitching on chicks he done ate out. All this other shit. I don't know, man. Maybe that's the thing now. Rappers go on podcasts to snitch. Because that music shit ain't really fucking selling. So I'll pass the mic on that for right now.
Yeah. No, say check the private chat. And what do you have to say? Wait, I got a super chat. Super chat. Where's my Adam Hearn says, thank you for the super chat, darling. Adam Hearn says, Eazy-E was up in the White House. Coincidence. Well, I got more to say, but I want to pass the mic. What say you, No Saint?
Yeah.
Another thing too.
Say it again.
What say you? What's your perspective?
Yeah. So I actually watched the podcast a little bit, and I listened, and Bill Maher was pushing back a little bit. They didn't dig in too deep when he said who are the gatekeepers. I think Ice Cube's a little slicker than that. He's not going to blow up the internet by even if that's what he believes. But listen, when I listened to him, and he made, although he claims he wasn't even pressured to make those songs that he made, like, F the Police and everything like that. But I do give people a little bit of, I don't want to say grace, but when I think that this is 1988, 1990, and he's got a lot of life lived since then, and maybe his opinion changed on things. Like when you're like Haran, I don't know when your contract was pushed in front of you, but maybe if you were like, and maybe it was when you were 18, but if you were like 18, 19 and you were broke and people like, hey, I got this nice chunk of change and, but we need you to do this kind of music. And I don't think it's a big surprise that people say do violence or do sex, because that's what sells it. That's what sells. Movies are violence and sex for the most part. The ones that I like don't usually, they win Oscars, but they're not usually the best one. The most popular movies, the ones that have the more substance, right? That's why I always rail against the Fast and the Furious. I don't get it. I don't get why people love it, but people love it. So when I give people who are a little bit further down the road a chance to say, hey, I don't like what, this is what they're doing. And I don't think it's right now, because he's looking from a different perspective now. That's the way I see it.
So with that said, go ahead, Haran.
On my Vegatron, I think labels did push for it early 90s. We had groups like Arrested Development, and they were selling. Everyone was buying it, but it still disappeared overnight. Well, here's the thing. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I was there, and I know what you mean. Arrested Development, that pretty much happened for a season. Then pretty much gangster rap really popped off. Like Dre and them, The Chronic, that wave of that LA sound really came in pushing through. And that really shook some things up. And Arrested Development, well, they were just out of here. And the problem with that also is that only it reached at a level where the white kids were into it. That's when the white kids were really into, that degree of hip hop. And it transformed into something completely different. So Arrested Development really didn't have a chance, man.
And let's not forget, I think Snoop Dogg made a religious record that didn't sell anything.
Right.
Let's not forget when they quote unquote do the good music or the positive music, it's not too successful.
Right. So here's my thing, No Saint. Then therein lies the hypocrisy. Then don't act like you don't know exactly what you're doing and you're working in tandem with the labels to sell your shit, right? Because you like money, right? So, Ice Cube claiming American record labels encourage criminal activity. Sir, you got rich off of that. And I understand what you're saying, No Saint. It's like, oh, he got older. He got kids now. He's probably a grandpa. He's had a change of heart. Then you owe an apology to all the people, the parents, the black women and the black men who were out there freaking marching, steamrolling the CDs that were vile, that were talking about women like they were garbage, that were encouraging violence in the neighborhoods, right? Under the guise of, we're just talking about our experience. We're just talking about our experience. Now, Ice Cube, ironically, sounds exactly like those parents way back when. Okay, when they were trying to ban and stop his music. So he left scorched earth behind him. Okay, kids that got into trouble because they wanted to be like the gangsters. And Haran made such a poignant point, right? After these men got signed, yeah, they were G's and selling drugs and gangster, whatever, with the Jerry curl, right? Prior to that record deal. But after that record deal, Haran was right. They were treated like kings. It was limos, bitches, jacuzzis, traveling, flights since they got signed. So for them to continue, right, rapping about what they were rapping about, they were complicit. They were a part of the label. And for you to go on this tour now about gatekeepers and not name names, what exactly would you like us to do with that information? Are you going to now be that parent? Are you going to lead the charge to steamroll the streaming, avenues where people can get this music? Because I think Ice Cube should be having a meeting with all the rappers that put out the content that he does. Why is he telling us? What do we care about the hip hop gatekeepers? We've been telling you the music is garbage for decades and decades and decades. The music is garbage now. All the women are twerking. They're acting like strippers, even if they're not strippers. Like, it's hot garbage right now. So shouldn't Ice Cube be meeting with all the rappers and saying, hey, we have a choice not to do this? Bill Maher said no one forced you to write those lyrics.
Absolutely.
And then Ice Cube danced around it. Well, no, it's not force, but they suggest, right? And I told Haran, it's funny, if they suggest that you should wear a rainbow shirt and walk around with a glitter thong, are you going to do it, Ice Cube? You're not going to do it even
Anybody
after.
did that shit would have been called a part of the agenda to emasculate black men.
Right. So he wouldn't do that after a suggestion, but he'll talk about killing other black men and women are bitches and hoes and stuff, and he'll talk about all of that under a suggestion. But I guarantee if somebody had gone to Ice Cube and said, we want you in a glitter thong and we want you to wave a rainbow flag, he would have been like, no, that's too much. I can't do that.
I mean, Adam names the Roots, Tribe Called Quest, Outkast, and Common. See, here's the thing, Adam. I know exactly what you're saying, but keep in mind all those people that you just mentioned, they got predominantly white audiences. Dudes in the hood wasn't really like fucking with Outkast, the Common, or the Roots, or Tribe like that. I know I was there. Let's not get disingenuous. Motherfuckers was fucking with Jay. They was fucking with Biggie. They was fucking with Black Moon in New York. They was fucking with, you know what I mean, Nas shit, G-Rap, all that shit, all that MOP shit, all that violent shit. I fucked with it. Okay, look, listen, I'll be straight up with you. I wasn't a huge Tribe Called Quest fan. I fucked with a number of their songs, but I wasn't a huge Tribe Called Quest fan. I wasn't a huge De La Soul fan. I liked that aggressive shit. I like G-Rap. I like Cube. You know what I mean? Mobb Deep, shit like that, that loud shit. I can be honest with myself about that. All that other shit, Arrested Development, Hammer, you know what I mean? I even fucked with the Roots, though, but I knew that I was not amongst many black people who fucked with them. You know what I mean? So let's be honest with ourselves. We know what we was hearing in the hood. We know what we was fucking with, man.
But I mean, her hat gave it away, though. Like, we kind of knew that about you based off the hat.
I mean, thank you.
Like,
I like this comment here. Jay Cavassier says, although I also will say I was disappointed when Cube conveniently stayed out and distanced himself when Ye was speaking on this very same thing months back. That's interesting because he could have jumped in right there and then he could have joined forces. But now he's coming out saying, you know who it is. I don't got to say. No, actually, I honestly do not know who the gatekeepers are. I really, truly, honestly do not know. Unless you say, unless you name names and situations, really don't know.
No, he was actually smart about the way he said it because he didn't say, he basically said, the people that run the industry. I mean, he left it open. It could have been just white people.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I think he was smart to stay away from Ye's comments because Ye got in a lot more trouble for what he said.
Well,
so then,
go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The problem with Ye is that Ice Cube said, well, you know who it is, because he knew if he actually named names, it'd have been curtains for him. You're getting no movies greenlit. You're getting no airtime. You're getting no things. A lot of these guys try to give the aura of standing up against the system, but they only dip their toe in it. Mm-hmm. Kanye dipped his toe a little bit further, and they took his fucking head off. Imagine a motherfucker that actually
Kanye had his foot in. Kanye at least put his foot in up to his ankle.
He put his fucking foot in that shit. Now imagine a motherfucker actually jumps in that bitch, aka Malcolm X, aka Khalid Muhammad, you know what I mean, aka the people who name names and stand 10 toes down.
I got a question. Does anybody know about the contract issue with Big 3? Is there a contract issue?
I have no clue. I heard about you saying
is
that. I don't know the logistics of it.
Because this is random. This is entirely random to me. Because it's like these black people start saying these crazy things for attention when there's some type of contractual issue going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Kanye, same thing with Kyrie Irving. I'm just saying 1 + 1 makes 2.
I just think it's silly. If you're gonna die on the hill, then die on the hill. But to come out and say, "Well, you know who the gatekeepers are," like, no, we honestly do not, right? And also, I think it was Bill Maher on another podcast he was on who pushed back and was like, "But the gatekeepers, like, have they stopped you from your?" He was like, "No, because we always find a way around the gatekeepers. Like so then are there gatekeepers?" Or are there not gatekeepers? Because if you could find your way around gatekeepers and the gatekeepers didn't stop you, which is it? Right? So it's annoying to me. It's like, are you going to die on this hill or not? And don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to die on any hill and ruin their you know what I mean, their income or whatever, their chances to perform or whatever. I just think it's silly. Either you're gonna go all the way or you're gonna shut up and keep making your money. The gatekeepers made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Ice Cube was not independent. Okay. He wasn't Master P selling, CDs out the back of his trunk. He signed, right? He became wealthy. He didn't put those movies out by himself, right? Are we there yet? That had to go through a company. So, I'm really not, it goes back to what Dr. Umar was saying. When you look at Black people, does it look like they're oppressed and suppressed? When I look at Ice Cube, does it look like gatekeepers stopped him from anything? He's wealthy. He's an actor. He's a rapper. He's a performer. I don't know. I'm looking at Ice Cube and I don't get oppression or suppression when I look at an Ice Cube. And again, I'm a huge fan of Ice Cube, but I just think this is like a midlife crisis they go through. Like they get bored or they get older and they start talking about the gatekeepers didn't let them do X, Y, and Z.
Well, it's funny you should bring up Master P because I was going to bring up Master P, and I was going to say, okay, Master P, didn't he sign a lot of people and didn't he produce a lot of people? I mean, we're talking about gatekeepers. There are people, I mean, I'm sure Ice Cube made enough, and especially the way it's gotten cheaper and cheaper to produce CDs or music these days. But even back then, like Master P signed a lot of people and he produced it himself. So, and how was the music? How did his music turn out? Was his music was it just positive or was it talking about?
I didn't listen to Master P, so someone has to say.
I'm talking about the people he signed, though. The people he signed.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about Master P.
No, it was bullshit. But you know what? It was such this aura of entrepreneurship and Black entrepreneurship or whatever. Just the aura of that, a Black businessman bringing his people in, and plus where he was from, the South. I think New Orleans at the time. Whatever. Yeah. That place was just fertile. It was just nobody was really popping out of that. So it just came at a time where they just created this movement. Much of that music has not aged well. You know what I mean? But one thing I got to note about Q is that I notice we're here with him right now, but I notice there's a string of events that happened before that. Friday the last Friday didn't get greenlit. He didn't have his plan rejected by the Democrats, and Republicans kind of thought about it. His economic plan for the Black community, the big three. I don't know the logistics of the whole thing, but I'm hearing that he's having some issues getting that off the ground. So is this a system where it's like kind of like saying, okay, did they get you conditioned to hearing yes so much that you want to go back to hearing them saying yes? Or is it that you're just afraid to go on your own? Because look, man, I just don't like this guy's art. I'm about to say his name. I don't like his art. That me and Jen go back and forth about him. I don't like his fucking art. The shit is just terrible. It's just horrible. Tyler Perry. But I can't sit here and rag on anything else outside of that. The man has amazing hustle. He has amazing self-determinism. He put his money up. He did not, count on the gatekeepers saying yes or no. He started out with pretty much nothing. He started out in a car, you know what I mean? And became a billionaire and owns his own fucking studio in Atlanta. Regardless of anything, no matter what I say about that art, I can't say that he didn't go out there and get it popping. Because he concentrated on the people that would love his art.
That's why
they bought it and he made a success.
But that's why the gatekeeper argument is null and I'm sorry. that's why the gatekeeper argument is null and void to me, because Tyler Perry and a couple others proved that you don't need gatekeepers to get to where you're going, right? And then of course eventually you have to collab. We live in America. This is in Africa. We must collab with the white folk. Hi, No Saint. We must collab
Can I ask you
with the
something,
white
Jess?
folk, right? Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
From
Go.
your understanding of the business, how much would it cost to just rattle off any number? Say if you needed a movie studio, how much would you need?
A movie studio?
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. It depends.
Like 20
It
million, 10
depends.
million?
What you mean? Oh,
Because
you mean
my point
like
is like
Tyler
this.
Perry's entire lot?
No, not him. I mean, I can't even imagine how much he paid for that. But I
Right.
mean, there's a couple of dudes who own their own situation. You know what I mean? How much? I guess maybe you would have to invest like maybe 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. Anyway, the point here that I'm making is that why can't like maybe 2 or 3 brothers actually come together who are affluent, actually come together and put their money up and get their own fucking movie studio? I really
And
just
be their
don't
own
understand.
gatekeepers?
Yes,
Because of what I said before, I think a portion of the community has this really bizarre love-hate relationship with white people, right? On one hand, they're the devil, they're the worst thing on the planet, and then on the other hand, you know what I mean, they need them and want them to provide for them and allow them to do whatever it is they want to do. They have a very bizarre love-hate relationship with the gatekeepers and with the small hats, like Star says. And it's really, really bizarre. Like, I'm really surprised at Ice Cube, and I'm just wondering if he's having his Monique moment, right? Where Monique only complains about the system when she doesn't get her way for something. You notice when Monique is working, she's quiet. You notice that? You haven't heard a peep from Monique because she's working. The minute you tell Monique no, then she's for the people and she loves us for real. And it's about, look what the white people, look how the white people doing us. When she's working, not a fucking peep. When they tell her no, so I'm wondering, is this because Ice Cube hasn't got a couple of projects greenlit lately because it's rough out here for everybody in Hollywood, and now he's feeling disgruntled? So is it really that Ice Cube cares about the community and how hip hop encourages criminal activity? Is it really that? Because he's eaten off of that for a very long time. He's eaten off of promoting criminal activity, right? I mean, I understand what No Saint said. Oh, maybe he's had a change of heart. Did he make amends? Did he apologize to the parents that were fighting and protesting NWA back in the day? Did he apologize to the men who are probably now in prison because they were, you know what I mean, inspired to be like NWA? Is he giving back to the community? How is he helping other than telling us that the gatekeepers are evil people? Because again, I say, what are we supposed to do with that information? We can't take it to the bank. We can't raise our children with it. We can't erase the damage that gangster rap has done to the community. What, I ask again, what would Ice Cube like us to do with that information? If he was sitting in front of me, that is what I would ask. And it seems like none of the podcasters are asking him the right questions. Ice Cube, what would you like us to do with that information? And how do you plan to make amends for the damage, okay, your contribution made to hip hop, rap, and criminal activity? What would you like us to do with that information? That would be my question. No one's asking it.
So those are tough, because those are the tough questions. Those are the tough questions. Look, it's very easy to talk about, like I tell you a lot of times, and I'm just going to use the metaphor of relationships real quick since people can understand those. I don't trust a motherfucker who constantly talks about how they get fucked over in relationships and things of that nature. And I asked them, well, what are your flaws? What are the things that you do in relationships that cause an issue? And, people always go the safe route and be like, oh, I'm too trusting. And, I fall in love too fast. And I'm always giving my money, like, shit that's framed as a weakness, but it still makes them look like a fucking victim. But you really want to hear the real meet and greet. Like, what do you steal? Do you, I don't know, did you try to poison somebody? did you suck your boss's penis? You know what I mean? What did you do? You know what I mean? Are you terrible to live with? See, these are the things that people won't say, because then it inserts them into the problem, and then they have to look at themselves and realize how they contributed to the problem. The kind of questions you're asking, it forces Ice Cube to ask himself, well, how am I a part of the problem? How am I a part of the issue? Now, look, we can just look at this and say, hey, you know, Cube was just spitting the real, and he was doing him, and he was talking about his environment and so on and so forth. But in reality, as we get older, we realize and we tell ourselves the truth. Cube, you ain't really experienced that environment since, I guess, you left NWA. It wasn't, I don't know how much money you did have, but you wasn't fucked up like you was before that. Point blank, at the end of the day, I'll land the plane here. In order to have real conversations about these situations, we need to ask ourselves, well, what are we accepting? What are we agreeing to that constantly, you know what I mean, has us landing in these situations? I see a couple of questions in the chat of, well, what if they tried, you know what I mean, if they banded together, use their resources and get a lot? What if the gatekeepers tried to bar them? Well, what if they didn't? Has this been tried? Can anyone say on record that a couple of black millionaires tried to put their money together and they were blocked from doing this? Tried to get a movie studio and they were blocked. If so, then why was Tyler Perry green lighted? You know,
by himself, coming from nothing.
Exactly, coming from nothing. So I'm just a little confused, because a lot of times, yes, they do own the distribution on a lot of levels. He had his ways around that, but you know, no one's saying that you do everything entirely black owned. That's just not practical. At some point in time, you got to deal with white people. But I'm saying keeping it more black owned than it is, I believe that's entirely impossible. And we're always thinking about, well, this is how they can hold us, you know, cut us off at the pass. This is how they're going to shut us down. You're always thinking about how it's not going to work before, you know, you actually get up and actually do the work to push forward and make it work.
This comment here by Depth Nos. Ice Cube, as time passes, may be experiencing reflections and remorse regarding his past actions. It's possible for him to exhibit hypocritical tendencies while also being correct simultaneously. Here's the thing. He's absolutely 100% correct, okay? Rap does encourage criminal activity. However, he's not atoning, making amends. He's not speaking on how he participated. He's blaming everything on the labels. His issue is the labels and the gatekeepers, which is very reminiscent of Monique. She didn't care that she couldn't fill seats. She didn't care that people weren't coming to see her. Her issue was they were lowballing her. She didn't care when was the last time you were funny? When was the last time you sold out, you know what I mean, a stadium and an arena? She didn't care about that. She cared about the white people were blocking her and lowballing her. And it's similar to this Ice Cube situation. It's like, so forget what you did. Forget what NWA did. Forget all the rap. And it's beyond NWA. You were in an environment where you supported each other, putting this garbage music out, treating women, however, didn't give a damn, right? All the while you having a wife. Right? All the while you having a wife, but every other woman outside of your wife was a bitch and a hoe and this, that, and the third. So it's okay that you regret it. You get older, you think back like, oh, that was pretty fucked up of me. But that's not his argument. He is not going on a podcast tour saying, I fucked up. I shouldn't have. And this is how I'm going to atone. And this is what I'm going to try to do. The gatekeepers, you know who they are. The gatekeepers. Like he's trying to absolve himself. No, that's why Bill Maher asked him, and anybody, forget Bill Maher's race. Forget that Bill Maher is white. Anyone with common sense would ask him, no one forced you to write those lyrics. That's common sense. That is cut. It could have been a lizard across from Ice Cube. And the lizard would have said, but you wrote those lyrics. Nobody forced you. And Ice Cube was like, well, you know, they suggested it. But you wrote it. You wrote those lyrics and you ate off those lyrics, sent your kids to private school, put your wife in Balenciaga and red bottoms, I'm sure, right? Got you that big house on the hills because of things that you wrote. And I don't understand. And I know somebody said in the chat, well, naming names is dangerous. Then shut up entirely. then shut up entirely. Because what is the point? Again, I ask, what would you like us to do with that information? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to go
whole
fight these
thing-
people that don't exist because you didn't give us their names. So we're supposed to go to Hollywood and look for them, call them out. Where are you, gatekeepers? Gatekeepers, come out now. What does he want us to do?
Now, no one's saying that naming names isn't dangerous. Yes, naming names is very dangerous. I understand that. We all do. But the point of the matter is that if don't go in half fucking cock. Pause. You know what I mean? Don't do that dumb shit, man. You know what I mean? Just say it with your chest, or don't say it at all. You know, and I will also want to note that I saw Ice Cube's economic plan for the community. A lot of it was very sensible. A lot of things I was like, I don't know about this. But it showed a person who was trying to bring a degree of vision, economic vision for the community to the table. I have not seen many people even attempt to do that. At least he made the attempt, and the on paper it was sound, or at least sound enough. I mean, no plan is perfect, but he was showing where his focus was, and it showed that it was a focus and a practical plan. You know, so I was 10 toes with him when he did that. A lot of motherfuckers were looking at me like I was crazy because he brought it to Trump. And I was like, well, he brought it to Biden, and they told him, yeah, we'll get back to you. You know, the man actually got up and tried. You know, he tried, and yeah, he sat down with the table with Republicans. But we also have to understand that as a community, at some point in time, if we want to make, go any further as a community, you have to make peace with the reality that the devil got to get his cut. Now, whatever devil you call or whatever, if there's a nickel bag being sold in the park, he wants in.
I want in.
And that's it.
Hey.
A lot of you can't. A lot of you have
know nothing, right? Omar Vegatron said, I thought Monique proved that she did have the numbers. No, what happened with Monique is Netflix threw her a bone and her shit bombed. Like everyone knew it would. It bombed. It was trash. Okay. Everybody online was saying it was trash. She was the language was unbearable. She was on there talking about her and her daddy. It was trash, right? So she proved yet again she is not that comic, right? And I hope we can all move on from that. And listen. I'm about giving people what it is they keep insisting, just so I'm really that person. So they can prove, right, what you were saying all along. This is why I say that about reparations as well. Cut the reparations checks. For fuck's sake, give these people their fucking money so they can give it back to the white devil they complain about wasn't giving them the money in the first place, because they're going straight to Apple. They're going straight to Nike. They're going straight to Balenciaga, Gucci, Fendi, Prada, and Louis Vuitton. And to Coach. They're going straight there to give all that money back. So cut the check so we can move on. It's the same thing with Monique. Netflix cut the check and her shit bombed. It bombed. Monique is no longer funny doing stand-up, and she proved it. So now is everybody happy? Can we go back to our sandwiches? Seriously, cut the fucking checks, because I love it when people fucking prove to themselves and everybody they weren't that dude. They weren't that dude. So as far as Monique proving anything, what did she prove? Did you watch her special? Cut the check, please.
I tried a good 30 minutes. I tried like a good 15 minutes. I couldn't do it, man.
I heard that. That's what I heard on Facebook. The consensus on Facebook was I tried watching it, and this was men and women. Okay. I tried watching it. It was garbage. It was too much X, Y, and Z. I didn't even try because I don't like her stand up. I don't think she's funny. Right. I don't think people complaining about life and the language that's used and all of that. I can't sit there. It's like, it's comedy. Tell a joke. Also, and I'm going to need a punchline.
Also, and look, listen, let me fuck what anybody says. I don't think most female comics are funny. I just fucking don't. I can't sit there. No, seriously, I can't sit there and mull through dick jokes and you know what I mean, ED jokes and fucking nigga jokes and shit like that. After a while, it's like, what else you got?
Well, I'll say this about female comics. First of all, you think I'm funny and I write comedy, okay?
Well, so, you're a little bit different. You have scope.
I do. Okay, so okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. Unfortunately, when I was running around with all the comics out here in Vegas, pause, I was only dating one. But when I was running around in his, you know what I mean, crew, I'd see a lot of women. So you're absolutely right. I don't disagree at all. I would sit there and I'm like, every woman that came up had to go straight to the dicks. I mean, straight beeline to it. And I think they feel that they have to overcompensate because they're in a male dominated, you know what I mean, business. So they have to be as vulgar as the guys are. But I think it diminishes their comedy. Like they thought they were doing something good. I was like, no, it's kind of gross. Like, what else? What about your life? What about your kids? What about your husband? What about politics? What about day-to-day things? Like they have no scope. They go straight for the dicks. And then, you know, you lose the comedy. I think that, this chick is pretty good, Wanda Sykes, but then she even dropped the ball that last special. I was
yeah, she has some promise with certain things. Like it was like, okay, this seems like it could go somewhere, and then she just like, ugh.
You know, I'm thinking about it. I mean, to me, some of the funniest comics have been men that I can recall, but I will say there's some females that make me laugh too. Like, I mean, and I can't tell you that I've watched a whole show of them and made me laugh. But like Sarah Silverman cracks me up. There's a few female comics out there that are you know. But
they're far and few in between.
But are they on? But are they on Chappelle's level? I haven't seen one.
No, I thought Ellen was funny. funny.
I saw one of her specials and I thought she was funny. Yeah,
I thought her stand-up was funny before she got rich, because you know when they get rich, they changed. All the comedians change when they get rich.
Well, the one I saw,
there's a reason behind that. Anyway, go ahead.
No, the one I saw, the Ellen one, was probably after she came out. So this is probably like 2002, 2003. She had a special. I thought that was funny. You know, I was in the alarm room overnight and I decided to watch it. It kept me up.
No, so, there are some. They just don't get play as much as the guys do. Definitely not Tiffany Haddish.
You know why comics? Do you know why comics suck after they get the money most of the time? Because art is a blue collar. Art on almost every level is a blue collar form of expression. Like a lot of music and a lot of everything the reason why it sucks right now is because the blue collar concept and the lifestyle and the worker has been villainized. A lot of the ideas, the hard work ethic and so on and so forth that comes from, you know what I mean, the blue collar, you know what I mean, ethos, it's just been thrown out the fucking window. So, you know, there's no human connection anymore. You know, all the Chappelles, the Eddie Murphys and so on and so forth, they were at their funniest when they weren't rich because they were closer to the working man. They were closer to his perspective. They were closer to his ideas and his perceptions of life. You know, when you're hobnobbing with men who can literally ruin millions of lives with a flick of a pen, your perspective gets fucking screwed. You know what I mean? You can't relate anymore to the little guy. You can't, you know what I mean? And whatever joke you're probably making Mark Zuckerberg laughs at, assuming that he laughs.
So does that mean you're not looking forward to Ice Spice's album after Munch?
No.
You're not looking forward to that album? It's maybe a hip hop classic.
No, I'm not doing that. I thought you was going to say something else, like I was going to lose my sense of humor, you know what I mean, once we get rich. And I'm like, oh no, I'm still going to be funny with y'all. We going to be funny to each other.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, you know, she may drop a classic album. I'm just saying.
She may.
Thank you for the super chat. Don LeBon, the hobbyist, says, Ice Cube, if you don't give me what I want with the big 3 contracts, I'm going to name names.
That's what he said.
I'm sure he didn't. I doubt it. Don, he said that? I doubt he said that. Ice Cube he ain't that gangster. He hasn't been that gangster since the Jerry Curl.
To paraphrase the great Paul Mooney, niggas ain't doing shit. Niggas ain't doing shit. Niggas will come on here.
They're constantly getting poked in the forehead. What are you gonna do about it? Constantly. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. We're gonna get them white people. What are you gonna do about it?
Exactly.
You mentioned the zebra killings to them, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google that shit. Okay. You mentioned the zebra killing to them. They're like, oh no, them guys were crazy. I don't know. Of course, right? Them guys were crazy. So shut up, Ice Cube. Go home. Go back to your mansion. Okay, go back to your mansion. See if your wife needs another appointment at Christian Louboutin. Okay, she may need another appointment at Gucci or whatever. Cut it out.
Well, this is why we keep on going over this, and this is why I say when you have a lot to lose, like the less you have to lose, the more outspoken you can be. The more you can take them chances. When you have a lot to lose, it's about self-preservation, or it's about keeping what I got.
Well, I'm going to make sure to basically whistleblow motherfuckers like a motherfucker from a very undisclosed location. The moment I'm rich as hell and can just walk away from life in general, I'm going to be from a place that y'all can't track me, and I'm going to let the motherfucking chopper sing, and I'm going to blow the whistle on everybody.
What I don't get is, okay, first of all, opinions on the Black Vagina are not necessarily opinions of the host, okay? I ain't blowing shit. I'm getting my fucking money, and I'll watch from Hawaii, from my cabana in Hawaii. Fuck that shit. Listen, Kanye had billions, and here's why I don't believe in the whole whistleblowing thing, is because no one is going to come with you, right? It makes sense to whistleblow if you have 100 Black millionaires and billionaires, and y'all all gonna create these studios and your own record labels and your own sports teams, right? You got 100 Black men and women who are millionaires and billionaires, and it's like it's gonna be 100 of us, and we're gonna snitch out everybody, and then after that, we're gonna build our own studios, our own Hollywood, our own. We're gonna have everything, right? We're gonna build our own shit. Then it makes sense. But for one little crazy ass Kanye to be like, the Jewish people, and Ice Cube talking about, you know who the gatekeepers are. No, motherfucker, we do not. I have no idea. And since you're not going to tell me, let me change the fucking channel. Right? So it doesn't make sense to be the only person whistleblowing. That's never worked out in anything. Forget hip hop and rap. I mean, that one little cop that tries to tell on the police department, where does he end up? In the fucking Hudson River. That hasn't worked for anybody anywhere ever. Like ever. Whistleblowing has never worked anywhere unless you have a crew.
So you're gonna answer the door after I whistleblow, Jack?
Listen, I'm gonna tell my maid, go out the back door, see if he needs a sandwich or something. I can't have him coming through the front door. Make sure he's good. And I'm gonna go back to my masseuse, honey, okay? Because I'm gonna be busy. I told Ron not to do that shit. Give him some money and make sure he ate. Fuck, man.
Well, at least you keep it on.
Hey. I ain't gonna see you hungry now. I'm not gonna see you. No.
I mean, I don't know why people, especially it seems like in the Black community, people expect that someone in his position or someone in a high position is going to sacrifice all is going to sacrifice all they have. Like we talk about this, Jen. The reason why the NFL kept going was because, there's a few dudes that are going to kneel with Colin Kaepernick, but they're not going to give up the career. They're not going to give up their lifestyle and walk out on the NFL. It's not going to go that far. Why? Because they have a family, they have a life, they have, they're making good money. Absolutely. And like you say, sometimes they're comfortable. So you can't expect like people that have things to lose, especially, but still have a lot of people controlling how much they can make. You can't really expect them to do anything about it because after all, they're looking out for themselves. Absolutely. In the long run. Yeah.
No thing.
And it may
me personally, like that is the main reason why when it comes to certain decisions in my life, I do it in private because I just want to make sure I don't number one, notify anybody, and number two, I just don't want to get anyone involved if there's some repercussions involved, man, because it's just like everybody isn't you. Everybody isn't obligated to go down the road that you want to go down. People got things, man. People got families. People got shit going on. You know what I mean? If you want to put yourself out there, and like if I ever did that, I'll be like, look, man, I'm speaking on behalf of me. This is me. You know, they're saying such and such and so on and so forth. So if the guns are coming, if the guns is going to blaze out, just point them at me, man. And we just take it and we just leave it at that. So I feel what you're saying, though, Saint.
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at, if you look at LeBron James, and he stands up for social justice in this country. He wouldn't stand up for the social justice in China because that's a lot of money to be lost. When, you know, he can control what he can control, right? And I don't blame him. I don't necessarily blame him. I'm just saying, like, you know, he could because he's the number one player in the NBA. He's got a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? Still,
I just think
if he speaks out against China.
I don't know what he said. Now, how Q didn't say it.
Thank you for the super chat. Don LeBon, the hobbyist, says, nah, Cube didn't say it, but I bet he was thinking it quietly. I bet he was thinking it quietly too. I just can't believe he went out like that. When they asked us who the gatekeepers, he was like, you know who they are. I ain't got to say nothing.
Adam Hearn said, Heron, tell us all about those Hollywood parties who had the apples in their mouths. Well, sir, I haven't made the millions yet, so I'll swing the block.
I'll say, listen, you gonna spin the block? You gonna spin the block? So I'll say this. I think, and some people may get mad at me if I say this, but I think it's premature for Black people to think that they're gonna whistle blow and make any waves or whatever. It took literally took hundreds of years to get us to where we are right now, where all the gatekeepers exist, be they Jewish, white, purple, green, whatever, the gatekeepers, right? And there's some Black people up there too that are like, fuck that, run away, why? Well, I'm not going anywhere, which is fine. But it took hundreds of years. You really think one fucking rapper from Chicago or one rapper from LA is really going to move the needle on this? You would need hundreds of years of Black people working together, because that is what white people did to oppress and suppress. They worked together. They were all in accord. They were all on the same page that Black people were cattle, right? People of color were less than fucking animals. And they did that for hundreds of years. Now, in order for Black people to even move the needle, they would have to work all together. And that's not happening because everybody's, you know, and understandably so, because when you come from nothing and then you make millions and billions, you're not trying to lose that to whistleblow on some Jewish guys in the office somewhere. I completely and totally understand. However, if that same person saw 100 men and women who have millions and billions of dollars say, fuck that, we shutting this whole thing down and we're working together in unison, then that's different. But you're asking a whole NFL franchise to kneel with Kaepernick. They're not doing it. Them guys work too hard. They came from nothing. They're taking care of their mama, their grandmama sick. They got to take care of their nieces and nephews because their sister and have 4 kids from 4 different men. You know what I mean? They're like, I can't lose this fucking money. I can't lose this money. So it's unrealistic. It's premature. It's going to take hundreds of years to get it back on track. Sorry, it is, because even the people that are coming out, quote unquote, fighting against the system, they're not even naming names. So where are we exactly? They're not even naming names.
Just check the stats. According to the internet's, Ice Cube is worth $160 million. God damn. You ain't good. You ain't sacrificing that cube. You be a moron. You be a fucking moron if you did that, man.
And that's why I don't understand. I don't understand this Tory
zone. You put yourself on the pressure cooker for our people, and you have that kind of success. You have lineage paper, okay? You have generational wealth, all right? You know, now I can understand your gripes, brother. I hear you, but there's other ways to get things done. There's really other ways to get things done. You don't have to, you know, go down this whistleblower shit, because like you said, Jen, assuming that there are whistleblowers and so on, like what can the average working person do? And what can they do against said whistleblower? Like, You're a bad man. You're a bad man. Like,
Twilight Zone, like Twilight Zone. You're a bad, bad man. It's like that. That's all we can do. That's all we can't. So that's why I ask again. Who are you talking to? Like Ice Cube should be having these meetings behind closed doors with other millionaires that are worth 9 figures. What do you? It's the same thing with Kanye. I asked the same thing with Kanye. Okay, Kanye, you just told masses of Americans that Jewish people run the record labels and they run Adidas and they run and they're not giving you more money. That's literally what you told us. Like literally. You didn't plan like, hey, let's get together. I'm going to take care of this so we can all come together and take. No, you just threw a tantrum. You threw an employee tantrum. And then you told all of us. And again, I ask, what were we supposed to do with that information? We're not even in that business. The majority of the people are not in show business. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you want people to do?
Yeah. Well, what I also want to say is he said, like, basically, you know, the gatekeepers guide where the music is going to go, guide what you can put out. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they have an investment. They're going to put out. So I don't necessarily think that they're putting out this music. You know, I know he said that some of the people own stocks in private prisons private prisons. Okay. But I don't think people are putting out that music to feed I think that's a leap to feed the prisons. I think that's a leap to think that people own stocks and they're going to put out music to feed the prisons.
That's interesting.
Because white people listen as much or more than black people listen to the same songs.
Okay, let me explain that. What he's basically saying is that, okay, by listening to this
hip hop is the pipeline to prison.
Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
Essentially, what he's basically saying is that the glorification of criminality, what it does is just create more criminals. So if you create more criminals, they get sent to jail. If they get sent to jail, they most likely get sent to private prisons. And major corporations can use them for, essentially labor and so on and so forth. Now, that happens outside of the music. That happens outside of the music, period. That happens to anyone poor. It just so happens that most black people and brown people are poor. So most black and brown people are going to be in those situations. Now, he didn't necessarily explain the whole thing, but I understand what he's saying. However, I will say this. When the contract was in my face, here was my skill set. I don't talk about it all the time. I was not only a performer, I was also, a musician. I was a producer. I can compose. I can do all this other shit. So I could say no and still be involved in the music industry. So I could just say, no, I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to do that. However, I'm still producing somebody's this. I'm still doing that. I'm still playing guitar on this. Now, for the average dude coming from poverty, where the only thing he has is rap, and he has this contract in his face, and he lives with his mama. And back in those days, 80s and 90s, we still didn't really have that many opportunities outside of entertainment. I understand why a black man would sit there and sign that contract. I rag on brothers a lot of times because I want to see better for them. Quiet is kept, But there are certain situations where I can see why you did that, because you still had a choice. It's just that 9 times out of 10, that other choice was maybe prison or you going back to your mama's couch. So if somebody says, hey, here's this 200 grand, talk this shit. Most brothers do that.
So the reason why I'm not, the reason why I'm not falling for that whole, like, hip hop is a pipeline in prison, because white people they consume the most hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's what I was saying.
They consume the most hip hop. And another thing I want to say is, again, are we in denial? Is the music made to enchant and to inspire people to be criminals, or does a certain demographic just like criminal music? Let me explain. White boys. I got into a car the other day, right? A ride share. And this white boy was listening to that death metal shit. I mean, the shit's hot garbage to me. It is hot garbage to me. Okay. Yeah, that shit. It's the worst thing my
That
ears have
screaming
ever
shit, like screaming shit,
experienced.
like
And he was
yeah,
like, you know what I mean, in the car.
yeah,
He was all
yeah.
into it, right? So did the labels put that out to send white men to prison, or do white men like that music, right? It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Are we in denial that there's a certain, some, not all, that there's a certain demographic of black and brown people, okay, that enjoy that music and enjoy it very much, right? Because I know some people that are like, they hate hip hop. They won't listen to it. They will not listen to it. It's not their thing, right? But are we in denial that there's a certain demographic that just, they love that type of shit, and it has nothing to do with anybody coaxing them or luring them into the criminal activity of this music? Maybe it's just what they fucking like. Because you can say no, you can say, I'm not going to listen to that crap.
Okay, well, there's layers to this. Some of this I can push back on. Some of this I agree with. It's a very complex point of view that you just brought forth.
Is it?
Well, it is, because there's levels to this shit. Now, first of all, we'll start with the death metal shit. Okay, just know that as a person who has been in these circles and so on and so forth, those white boys are violent as fuck. However, are they? No Saint, you know this. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, this wasn't a death metal band, but it was one of my favorite metal bands, Pantera. Some crazy white boy got on stage and unalived Dimebag Darrell. He's a guitar player, so one of my favorites. He just offed them because I think he decided to leave a group. Yeah, it was just, he just offed them in front of everybody. But anyway,
how did he unalive him?
Gunshot to the head. He popped them in front of everybody. He just got on stage.
Why I never heard that? Now I gotta Google.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Well, it was said in white spaces. You know what I mean? You have to be in those spaces to know that happened. But you can Google it. You know, Dimebag Darrell, you'll see it. Anyway, you know what I mean? Those dudes are, you know, still violent. However, they still are not conditioned and have the option to, well, not go down that particular road of criminality. Some of them do now. Don't get me wrong, but it's not per se the same thing with our community. Now, with the black community, now that is a very complex thing, because a number of people in the community, I think they truly think that is the only thing that they're expected to be. You know what I mean? This negative, you know what I mean, stereotype. They can't perceive, you know, blackness outside of that. So they feed into a lot of those things and a lot of those ideas that land them in prison. Yes.
Wait a minute.
What's up?
Haran, you say they feed into it. Again, I say I have to ask. I keep hearing black people spoken about, and Latins go through this too, but I keep hearing them spoken about like they are fucking infants, like in the infantilization of black people, right? So it's like, what do you mean that they keep feeding them? That you do, as an adult, you do what the fuck you want to do. But I keep hearing black people spoken about like they are children, that you could just lead them to anything. What do you mean feeding them? Either you hear the music, like, are we in denial that there is a certain underbelly in all the communities of color that just enjoy being fucktards? Have you seen the fights in Carnival Cruises? If you have not seen the fights in Carnival Cruises, I want you guys to Google the fights in Carnival Cruises that have been happening to the point where now podcasters are covering the story. There was like this CNN type of freaking podcast where white men went on and they wanted to understand why these fights are now happening in Carnival and what Carnival can do to stop them. Nothing but seas of black people beating each other up, rolling around in the pool, pulling each other's braids and wigs off on Carnival Cruises. Is there not a demographic that just everywhere they go, they're a fucking virus? They're the people that consume this music and then blame the music. I'm like, is there just a demographic of people? They're white people people in meth parks, in trailer parks. That is what they want to do. No one is saying, you know what put him over there? Metallica. Metallica is why these guys are doing meth, you know? That is why is it that black people are spoken about like they're fucking infants that get led to and fro? I don't fucking get it.
Because that is the case for a number of them. I have said that. A number of them, the Arrested Development is real in the community. I mean, come on. There's times when I send you photos of grown black men in their 50s. Stu's got on like a blue pink clustered hoodie. He's got on these weird fucking sneakers. He's dressing like his nephew, his 14-year-old fucking nephew. And you're saying to yourself, I'm saying to myself, dude, you're half of 100. You're almost dead. Why are you dressing like a child? But you see, if you say those things, then you're anti-black, you're this. The reason why the community is not growing is because it's in a constant state of adolescence.
So I want to say something. Let's deal with anti-black, right?
Yes.
Let's stop for a minute. Let's ponder. Maybe you are being anti-black. Maybe being black is that degeneracy. You ever thought about that? Because why else? Wait. Let me just finish with this. Why else would they defend it so vehemently if it's not a part of their culture? When you tell a woman, don't twerk in a fancy restaurant, they attack you and they try to shut down your restaurant because you're supposed to let them twerk. So that means that woman is very much, right, attached to that's part of her culture, that everywhere she goes, she twerks, even if it's inappropriate. And she's doing that as a black woman. So if you are speaking against that, then you're anti-black technically. You follow where I'm going? Because if that's what's black to her, if that's what's black to her, twerking wherever she wants, fighting on Carnival cruises, wearing pink, wigs, if that's what's black to her and you're talking against that, then you kind of are being anti-black, her black. You know what I mean?
I understand that. And you do have a point on that. I understand the point that you're making. But the overall thing is this, that the idea of blackness, we'll just say on a mainstream level and just be 100 with it. The idea of blackness on a mainstream level is grown people behaving like children, degeneracy, so on and so forth. That sect of black people are pushed to the forefront and it's seen as the brand itself. Now, my issue is there are other black people who are considered, who are the antithesis of that, but they're dubbed alternative, other black, that new black, blah, 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 whatever. I'm serious, all these other things that have absolutely nothing to do with that, because they try to make it, they try to make it this exotic, weird form of blackness that isn't conservative. And this idea that you have, and you're perpetuating the ideas and the movements of children, what's going to happen is that you're going to make decisions like a child that end up with you being in trouble with the law, with having multiple children, with making bad decisions in life, because you are moving through life like a child. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely understand. So what do you think? Going back to Ice Cube, right? In his mind, and I'm not in his mind, let's just speculate. In his mind, best case scenario, we're all on board. We're like, yeah, Ice Cube, there are gatekeepers. Yeah, we believe. What do we do next?
Well, here's the thing. There is nothing these people can do.
So puppy twist.
That's pretty much it. I mean, he's speaking about gatekeepers. He's speaking on all these other things, and those ideas are something that only him and his constituents can fix. The people that he's pleading with, what are they going to do? Are they going to storm the gatekeeper castle? I mean, what they're going to throw tomatoes when they see the gatekeepers on the street? Like, are they going to shame them on social media? Like, what's the plan?
That's what I'm wondering. I just want to hear the plan. It's the same thing with Kanye. When Kanye was going through his temper tantrums, right? Because he wanted an extra billion for wasn't enough. He needed an extra billion. The resounding parroting was he got a plan. That's part of his plan. That's part of, and then they took that brother down to like $400 million and he disappeared, married another white woman. And that was that. Now he's running around. Now he's running around in bodysuits and full body condoms and sewer boots. And no one gives a damn about Kanye. So is that the route Ice Cube is going? Like, what is the point? I'm not understanding.
I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to plead to some sort of demographic that he thinks has the power or the wherewithal to help him or assist him, and they don't. Now, look, listen, Kanye found out real quick that most black people, they just gonna say, they just gonna fist bump you from the side and go back to work on the morning. They're gonna go back, they're gonna fist bump you, be like, yeah, brother, that's that shit. But they're gonna go to work Monday morning. And they're gonna forget about you, like Kyrie Irving. Like,
and we see a lot of that online. I'm talking about people be going in caps and exclamation. That's right, brother. That's right. Them white devils, man. That's right. Tell them. That's right. Them gatekeepers, they holding us down. And then they go to work on Monday.
And I asked you a question. I asked a question for the brothers and people online. I'm like, yeah, you found out the original Jews were black. What did that do for you?
What are you doing with that information?
Yeah, what are you doing for that information? I'm seeing y'all still fucked up in the game right now. So, you know, as I said, a lot of it sounds like complaining. Just
a lot of it is.
You know, I mean, misguided frustration. And again, I'll say it. You know, our people. The reason why we feel we perceive ourselves to not be able to find a degree of independence is that we're looking from it as a space of helpless children. We think we need that parental figure that white people are, like the Democrats. They're like our parents who constantly make excuses for us and give us money and so on. They don't really necessarily kick us out the house, you know. Right. They're just coddling and enabling, and they believe that they're actually helping, but they're not. So, and
you know what? There's you know, Jay Cavassier says career kamikaze, rebel without a cause. Like it makes absolutely zero sense. I understand if he would have came out and been like, look, because there are gatekeepers, I'm trying to put a film out, it's not being greenlit. I'm gonna need y'all to go opening week to watch this, to support. Because I still say the best thing you could do for poor people is not be one of them, right? Because then you're in a position to inspire and help and what have you. He could have easily came out, went on that same podcast tour he's going on right now. He could put a film out with his money or an album out with his money because he can afford it, okay? If he stops buying his wife and his kids name brand clothes for a month or two, he can afford to put a film out. Okay, we have Mark Harris up here talking about his first film was $500. Ice Cube got connections. Okay, he could have put an album out. He could have put a movie out and said, all people of color watching me right now, I'm putting a movie out, okay, in the theaters. I want everybody to go opening weekend. It is important for X, Y, and Z. This is the plan. That would have made more sense than, you know who them gatekeepers are. Are you talking to me?
Well, yeah. The problem with that is that would mean that he would have to risk something of his own. Risk. And most people aren't going to take that risk with their own. It's like Donald Trump raising all this money. He's raising other people's money because he doesn't have to spend his own. He's got millions and millions of dollars. But I want to go ahead and fundraise on this because I want to blow your money.
Right, so but no saying he could make a film with a couple thousand, literally with a couple $1,000s. He has connections. He has a network. He has millionaire and billionaire friends. So I would recommend it come out of his pocket because he has $160 million. How much is he going to die with, right? But he could raise funds because of who he is. He could do concerts. People love Ice Cube. I still love his music. So I'm like, so you're not even a dime? Nothing.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to certain movies and movie studios, we have certain expectations.
Yeah.
No one's expecting Ice Cube to pull off a Marvel level, Fast and Furious level, movie with CG and action stunts and all this other wild bullshit. I don't understand how you can't keep things at the level in terms of cost, like a Friday or Barbershop and so on. Take some shit like that, as long as it's It's well written. It has like maybe one or two familiar-ish faces, in it, and you got some up and coming talent in there too. It shouldn't cost you that much money, and make sure it goes straight to streaming. People will fuck with it. Like, look, dude, I think his problem was maybe he wanted Friday in the theaters, and they'll probably were like, nah. And I think a lot of people need to understand that the theaters are for like, look, right now the theaters are for sure bets.
Yeah, but that's not even true, Haram, because you got 4-wall distribution deals. Mark Harris got white people money in 37 theaters in different cities. He is not worth $160 million. Ice Cube could have very easily got a 4-wall deal, which is basically you're renting out the movie theaters to put your movie in there. And any movie starring Ice Cube, we're going to go see just because we like Ice Cube. So I'm like, I just keep hearing these, we can't because of the gatekeepers. Yet these guys are coming out of...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm like, these kids are coming out of college, putting movies and getting 4-wall like, come on, Ice Cube. Like, cry me a fucking river. It's not adding up.
What do you think could have been a problem? Him just not getting the same maybe he might have gotten before?
What I think is the problem, I think it's ego, honestly. Because like you said, maybe he wanted the next Friday in theaters and the gatekeepers told him, no, go fuck yourself. And instead of him saying, you know what, I will go fuck myself. I'm going to raise this money. I'm going to get together with this one, that one, and that one. I'm going to get the 4-wall deal. We're going to rent out the theaters. Instead of doing that, like people doing it every single day, it's not just Tubi. A couple of these cats are getting that 4-wall deal and they're putting their movie in these theaters for 2 or 3 days. Instead of doing that, he wants to out the gatekeepers because they running everything. What are we supposed to do with that? No one's going to think about it next week.
Listen, I want to throw something in here just because when we're talking about the music and the lyrics and, promoting violence, and we know, as Jen, you said, like white people consume it because the population of white people is much larger at a much larger rate, right? But they're not committing these crimes. And there's a lot of variables that go into that. But I wonder, it just hit me. And I'm like, I wonder if this has anything to do with the lack of maybe an identity. Like that makes them feel, that gives them an identity. It gives them power. Because it reminds me, remember the Office Space and you had that guy driving, the white guy driving, he's listening to rap, he's talking like he's all bad, and all of a sudden some black people driving beside of him, he like hits the lock. He hits the lock on the door. But I'm saying, when you sing these lyrics, negative lyrics, it makes you feel certain, makes you feel powerful. And I'm just curious. I know we're not going to get an answer on this show, but I'm curious if what your opinion, Haran, on that, something like that. Does it have anything to do with, listen, I'm in a situation, I don't have a lot of power. This song makes me feel powerful. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to carry a gun. I'm going to do that. And then maybe it gets them into trouble.
So say your question one more time, so I'm clear.
I'm just wondering.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. If because a lot of black people that are coming out of the inner city that don't have a lot of money and they don't have a lot of power, this music can make them feel powerful, and maybe they latch on. That is an identity they want because it makes them feel a certain way. They latch on to that identity, and maybe that's why, it influences them. I guess the music is
absolutely. And that's not even a black people thing. It's a human thing. Human beings are always going to seek power in some sort of way. That's just human nature. Men, we're physiologically bigger and stronger, than most people on the planet, unless it's another man. We usually take things through brute force, most of the time through might. Women, they're smaller, their bones are weaker most of the time. They'll either use weapons or they'll go through some sort of mental manipulation. Kids, they'll turn two parents against each other, to get what the fuck they want. Everybody's gonna find power somewhere. So yes, if you're growing up in an impoverished world, Everybody doesn't have shit. What's the best way to be that dude? What's the best way to seem like you have power? Well, you get the kicks that everybody doesn't have. You get a fucking jacket that everyone doesn't have. You look like you got fucking money. You know what I mean? You overcompensate for your feelings of your insecure feelings by being hyper masculine or being super fucking violent because you're feeling that you're being victimized every time. So yes, there is some truth to what you're asking.
So I could have answered that too. Why you ain't asked me no thing? I could have answered that. What happened?
That's true.
See, this is the mental manipulation. You see, that's the mental manipulation. No, saying.
No. I just want to stop, Tristan. So anyway, then I started shooting. No, okay. So no, going back to what you said, no, saying it's similar to when I say why in the hood they like women with the huge tits and the huge asses, right? Because it's like it's more. I can get that girl with and you don't see that the higher you go up and the more the money is real. What do they want? They want the svelte model, right? So I absolutely say yes, I agree with that. And you notice every time a rapper says something, whether it's talking about what liquor he's drinking or what he's wearing on his feet or what he's wearing on his back, what do all the minions do in the hood? They go run out and get that, and they feel like, you know what I mean, they're close to that guy's success, even though they're the furthest thing from it. But it does give them a sense of power, like, oh shit, Jay-Z, the billionaire, said, you know, this liquor is good. If I go get that liquor, then I am just like Jay. So it does give you, it's faux power. It's faux power. But in your mind, you're thinking, shit, look at me up in the club with an Ace of Spades bottle. This is what Jay-Z drinks. So I got to be like Jay, right? Because I'm in the club with the same thing that he drinks. You're absolutely right. That's a great point. With that said, I will still say that I feel like a lot of Black people work in tandem with these labels and they know exactly what they're doing. And when they do come in power, they use Black people exactly the way white people use Black people. That Mona Scott Young from All the Love and Hip Hop, and not only Mona Scott Young, but Lemuel Plummer from the Zeus Network, he is using Black people exactly the way white people use them. Put the degeneracy on TV and get rich. And he said himself, his company, Zeus Network, is almost at $1 billion. Okay. And all he has on his channel is what? Black people fighting and rolling around on the ground. So what does that say? That's a Black man. He's a gatekeeper now. Mm-hmm. Because he has his own network and he says what goes on the network. So he now qualifies as a gatekeeper, because if let's say a woman was to take him a cooking show, he's going to be like, nope, do you have anything where bitches are fighting each other? That's a gatekeeper. And he said himself, his company is almost at $1 billion. So it is a power thing. It's a power thing for real. With that said, we are done, guys. This was really good. This was really insightful, great conversation. This is why I love the block. What are you doing, Tristan?
Listen. I'm just confused with people falling for the grift now. Because
Ice Cube's grift? Are you calling it a grift?
It's a grift. Listen, if you're a famous Black person, and before COVID, right? If you weren't saying all this Black people shit before COVID, and you're saying it now, you're grifting. I'm calling you a grifter. That's what you are. That's because it's like you did not give a shit like about Black people until you couldn't get something done. And let's be honest, this isn't the early 2000s or 90s. Those Friday movies are problematic. In reality, nobody's going to put that in their movie theaters because it's problematic. He doesn't see that, but you still want to push that nonsense. It's you're grifting at this point.
Interesting.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
I mean, Friday, that kind of content, he I mean, it's still extremely funny, but that kind of content, it really wouldn't shake like that right now. Like a lot of that stuff really wouldn't shake. Like a lot of stuff that we came up with wouldn't shake right now if we really want to be fucking real with it. A lot of comedians, a lot of music. I saw Andrew Dice Clay the other day. I was like, there's no way how this would even pass the fucking open mic.
No.
I would just like to hear as he goes on this tour, this Gatekeeper tour with no names, right? The Gatekeeper tour, no names. I would like to hear him just make some amends. Say, I'm sorry I partook in this. I'm sorry to the parents that were trying to stop us from putting this music out to their children. I apologize and I want to make up for X, Y, and Z. It's like all I hear is they stopping me from making my next million. That's all I hear. That's really all I hear. And I'm like, I can't get on that. I can't jump on that bandwagon. So with that said, fellas, no last part and thoughts. Now I'm out of here. I got steaks, wild rice, okay, and some spinach waiting for me. So that was it. All right. I love you, Tristan, No Saint, and Haran. And I will see you guys Monday. Lily will be back with us very, very soon. We miss her very, very much. And we will keep in touch, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. Tristan, you got anything for us?
I don't know if I showed this one because it's typed here, but I don't remember showing it. But
it's okay. Somebody probably didn't see it.
Okay, so put me on the big screen. Because this is what Ice Cube needs to remember. And everybody in the chat and in your life. No matter if you see the glass is half empty or half full, always remember you have water.
Love it.
Love you all. Class dismissed.
Good night.
I love it. Good night, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. Okay. Don't forget to support the show. Cash App on the block with Jen. Throw mama a super chat or a Cash App after I'm off air. That'll be really, really nice. Okay. Makes me understand and know that you are enjoying the content. Be good, and we can't be good. Be careful, mi gente. And we'll see you guys here next week. Good night. Good night, Mr. Unicorn. We want to see you back up on the panel soon, mama. All right, guys. Good night.